Good morning, Austin ISD. I'm Lisa Willmon. I'm a licensed professional counselor supervisor. I am licensed to diagnose and treat mental health conditions in the state of Texas. I am also qualified to provide supervision for LPC interns. I hold a bachelor's degree and master's degree in education with certification as an elementary educator, a special educator, and a school counselor. Provided in the presentation are highlights from my portfolio along with my resume. Please take your time and hit pause if you want to review these in further detail. In response to the discussion question related to the disproportionality in evaluations for special education, over a decade ago, Texas was reprimanded for over-identifying too many students in special education services. This prompted Texas to spend more than a decade restricting students from an FIE. As noted here, I was immersed in this at the time and experienced firsthand the inability to provide FIEs for students. With ESSA enacted by the Obama administration, they offer grants to improve these disparities. Seeking grants to implement innovative solutions would be helpful. Research with the gifted and talented disparities propose promising use of local building-based norms instead of national norms. Within Austin ISD's district plan, there is an initiative to improve the timeline for dyslexic assessment, which could help improve the disparities as well. Another consideration would be more collaborative and an integrative approach to services with students that can be offered outside the school. We should not be afraid to recommend this to parents, especially if parents are reluctant to authorize the FIE, helping change the hiccup with educational vortex versus collaborations with others to provide services. Understanding cultural views about receiving services, offering training to parents and teachers for effective communication should be a consideration. Training for teachers to help parents view services through a different lens. With minorities being disproportionately identified as emotionally disturbed, I believe it would be very important to train to identify symptoms of anxiety, hypervigilance, and PTSD. With a more targeted approach, I believe that we would be able to reduce the disparities for students identified with ED. I bring to Austin ISD 13 years of experience within special education, elementary and secondary, through resource, life skills, inclusion settings, content mastery settings, transition, and leadership within special education. I bring 8 years of experience in school counseling, where I provided support and services for students receiving special education services and students receiving 504 services and students receiving RTI. My corporate coaching experience has been immensely helpful with change. I started at Lone Star Circle of Care just as they were recovering from collapse. The staff was expected to make changes and ensure compliance with HRSA and Joint Commission requirements. I was part of the initial behavior team being evaluated for the system's first certification for an integrated behavioral health clinic. We were approved and have continued to be Joint Commission certified for a federally qualified healthcare center. Our purpose is to serve the underserved. As you can see, I have committed my career to helping those most in need. I leave you with words of wisdom from my special friend Becky, whom no matter what her circumstance is or what her limitations may be, always finds joy and happiness. She says, "Be happy where you are."